Hi Mona. Alright, so here is your past life spread. So what we're going to do is go to where you are in this past life, what you did with the majority of your time there, an important day with the relationships and feelings involved, another important day with the relationships and feelings, the death and lesson learned, and we will get hints of time throughout. So all I'm going to do is relay to you the images and impressions that come through, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off of what comes through here and your current life. And I will try to help however I can. So, okay, let's begin. Where we're going. So here we have the Americas card, and immediately it felt very much like we're going to somewhere that is like modern and civilized, versus a lot of the times when I get this card it feels like we're going back in time quite a ways. But here it feels like almost like I want to say the 20th century, early 20th century, and it feels like the feeling of the place we're going to is like kind of Cuba-ish. It's a kind of feels like an island, but there's such a city on it that it's very civilized. It's kind of a hub. It might not be Cuba. There might be little islands around Cuba that might be like this. So Google and see, but they would be giving me Cuba because that would be the most common thing that I'd be able to think of for this kind of feel. Even right now, a connection you might have if you've ever been interested in going to Cuba or visiting Cuba, if you look at photos of Cuba, see if you get triggered or you're emotionally pulled towards it, if anything like that, how you feel about it. Cuban food, Cuban music, Cuban culture, language, that kind of thing, as well as a possible connection. Let's say in the early 20th century, there was a certain kind of aesthetic and vibe of the earliest 20th century there, or in that kind of society. And it's almost like, I want to say, it is kind of like we're looking at it's modern, it's more like upscale. We're looking at people or the part of society where, like, basically what they're showing me is a man with a white linen suit. It's like that linen suit, it's that look. So if you can Google and find that as well, if that aesthetic or that time period ever intrigued you, that can even be a connection in its own way. So I do feel like we're looking at a male aspect here of you, so a male life. So right there could be a connection in the idea of you having what you would consider masculine energy, as far as like, were you ever a tomboy? Do you ever tap into that kind of energy for work or your life? It could be in a relationship where you're more of the alpha, so to speak. On the other hand, you can have an opposite connection throughout this, and that would be something like, because we're seeing a male aspect here, you would be experiencing a life in your current life where you're more feminine or girly, or want to explore the more divine feminine aspects of your soul, as well as it can mean a balancing out. So basically, we're looking at if you are going through a theme or a phase in your life where you're playing with your gender identities or energies, like feminine, masculine, and what you want to start maybe shifting over into or playing with, or if it's even interesting to you, right? So if that resonates with you, great. And the things that don't resonate with you, by the way, just tuck in the back of your head, because sometimes it comes up a little later on after these readings, whether it's months or even a year later kind of thing, and you'll remember. So just bear with me here. We're going to this card in a minute. I feel like there's something else that wants to come through here. So there's this guy. Okay, so they're showing me this guy is it keeps showing me white, and I feel like, yeah, white linen as far as the style goes, but then there's something white about it as well, almost like a uniform of some sort that he wears to work. That's not a uniform in the sense of like an army or someone of duty. It's not like a duty uniform. It's like a uniform for himself that he wears all the time, almost like how you see cartoons wearing the same clothing over and over on each episode. Does that make sense? You know, like so anyway, that's what it feels like. It's like he decides that when he goes to work, he is wearing this thing in his work every day, and it feels like there's something white about it, and it's like precisely white because it has to do with giving a soothing presence, and something about it being like clean, pure, and something about the white like touching him emotionally, like it calms him, almost like a lot of people would like blue for calming colors kind of thing, but this is white. So there's something about the white also that's empowering to him because he feels so comfortable in it, almost like, hey, this is my color. So in any way you can connect with that. It could be that you like wearing white, or you like the aesthetic of a white kind of decor, like a white house, not sterile, but like a warm, you know how white can be warm. If that's a connection there, there's that. And then also in the idea of choosing what you wear for personal like soothing or empowerment, like intentional picking of your style, basically. Like, is your style and color that you choose every day intentional rather than just like throwing on whatever? Or it can also be that if you are wishing that you could wear what you wear and you have a job where you can't wear what you wear, this would be a message to try your best to start incorporating what you wear, or to pay attention to the colors that you wear and being intentional in your choosing if you aren't already, to do that. And it's going to help you in, it feels like, clarity and peace of mind, or like peace through the day, or it's going to make a difference on you, and it's going to feel subtle, but it'll be noticeable. It's something that it's almost like, it's like you'll notice it when you try it, if that makes sense. Just try it and see what happens. Whatever color, it doesn't have to be white. Whatever color, resonates with you each day. It can be different, it doesn't matter. This can also be just the idea of wearing uniform every day, wearing something that is like, it doesn't have to be different every day. There's something about this idea about simplicity versus making things more complex than they already have to be. Almost like, make sure you're not picking a different outfit every day just because you're like, oh, they saw me in this yesterday, so I can't wear the same thing. If you really want to wear like jeans twice or 3 times in a row, it's like, if that's what's going to like make you happy, make sure you're doing that. So it's almost like a little like opportunity for you, in a small way, to learn the lesson of letting go of what other people think of you and not caring how other people judge you. It's not by like some, doing some crazy action or anything. It's like the simplicity of just choosing what you wear, even if it's something you think others would think is inappropriate, I guess, if that makes sense. So there's something in that. So if you've been dealing with anything having to do with feeling judged by others, or making choices based on others and what you think others want for you or would approve of, this would be a time for you to pay attention to that part of your life and make changes immediately. So even if you're going through something right now where you have to make a choice, like I was, like, just for an example, it's kind of like custody of children, it's like you can choose to request certain things, even though people might look at you and say that's not right, like that's selfish or whatever. But if that's what you need, that's what you need. That kind of thing. Like, that's kind of, I'm not saying don't compromise when it comes to that, but it's like, make sure you're standing up for what you need. And there's also, I don't know why it keeps coming up, just the idea of custody. It's like, I don't know why I'm just gonna say it, like, whatever, but it's almost like what you need if you think it will be best for someone who is in your care, or someone who you are taking care of, or not taking care of, but whose needs are kind of dependent on the healthy choices that you make. If there's anything like that, and this could just simply be talking about yourself, because you can be dependent on the healthy choices that you make, you know what I mean? But if that's the case, just make sure that you are making the healthy choice, and that doesn't have to do with what other people think. That has to do with what your heart is telling you and what you know that you need to have a healthy state of mind. Does that make sense? So if that resonates with you, great. If not, just tuck it in the back of your head, and we're going to go ahead and go to the card of what you do with the majority of your time. So this is the healer card. Now, a lot of times when I get this, we're talking about like a medicine woman or a doctor or whatever it might be. And in this case, I feel like we're looking at someone who is hands-on. It has to do with intuitive touch. It's almost like a massage therapist, but it's more than a massage therapist. It's not common. So you're almost like a massage therapist, energy healer at a time when this is rare. So it's almost like people know to come to you because of that, but you don't put it out there that you do like energy work. You're like, I am a professional massage therapist, whatever it might be. But the people that your regulars and people that refer people to you know that it's more than that, know that it's deeper than that, because they get immense healing when they come to you beyond just the massage, if that makes sense. It's almost like you can do a reading on them while you're doing a massage. So you not only do you help these people's physicality, but the way you talk to them or what you do in there. I believe there's something having to do with like a chanting, humming, sound therapy as well. It's almost like you hum. They think you're humming or singing, but really it's like it's almost like you're doing it subconsciously, because the humming and singing that you're doing has a certain resonance to it too. So you're touching these people, you're like massaging them, and you're also incorporating energy healing in, and then you're also adding in the resonance of the sounds that you're creating, but you're just doing it intuitively as well. So it's kind of like this whole experience, and you have a reputation in the region for that. And I feel like it comes from a generational thing. It's almost like, I want to say, it's almost like your grandfather did this, and you kind of lived with him and you watched him, and it felt natural to you. So this feels like it is a family like inheritance, so to speak, a gift. So in your current life, just all that, like connect with all that. Okay, so are you interested in energy healing, intuitive touch, massage therapy, and sound therapy? This doesn't have to come from your mouth or, you know, belly or whatever. It can come from like doing Tibetan bowls, you know, just sound therapy. Like, do you resonate with the idea of sound resonance being healing to you? If not, if you've never tried it, I would definitely at least try it or look into it, simply even by going on YouTube and finding like a video where it shows you the like Om sound, you know, where you're like, you go with it and you could feel and hear the pitch and get it in your body and feel the vibration in your body and see how that feels to you. It might be something that can be very helpful for you, if not in healing physicality, then at least in kind of like learning meditation, clearing your mind, slowing down things. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind as well. If you are looking for a modality or a career shift, change, whatever, into the more holistic arts or that kind of thing, look into Reiki, intuitive touch, energy healing, anything where it's healing with your hands. Do you have healer's hands? Do you have heat coming out of your hands? Tingles? Do people say when you touch them feels good? That kind of thing. If you do, then it's time to get started with your modalities if you haven't already. So keep that in mind. This can also, for some reason, what's coming up are plants. So it's almost like, I want to say, your intuitive touch like helps plants grow, or hold on. Yeah, there's something about there's something about like seeing the this is gonna sound really weird, I'm so sorry. It's almost like seeing the aura of the earth in the plants. Like, are you able to do that? If you are, don't doubt it. If you start to see colors, don't doubt it. Go with it, try to amplify it. And please, by all means, like, let me know, like, if you feel comfortable. I'd love feedback on this afterwards to know what's up with this, because this hasn't really come through and it's really interesting to me. But it's basically saying like your hands are coated with healer abilities, and to not let that go by, and to not dismiss it if you're like, oh, I wonder what that was, oh, nothing, like that kind of thing. And to look into that kind of thing if it resonates with you, and if not, tuck it in the back of your mind. This might come up soon for you, if not now, so keep that in mind. But there's also the idea of a reputation, and I want to say that's coming up. If you are someone that is like, I want to build my reputation, I want to be known, I want a community kind of thing where I'm known in the community. This doesn't mean that you have to go and like try to, you know, be like this, like an amazing whatever, you know, to be known throughout the land. No, it's basically like this feeling of it feels more like an urge to, like a nudge to you to be like, hey, don't forget you are part of a community, even if you don't feel it. You just have to step outside your doors and be part of it. Like, there's different ways to be a part of different communities, and the communities all look a different way. It could be a community of 5 people working together, a community of 100 on a commune. Like, there's so many communities. Open up your definition of what a community is so that you can feel more inclusive if you feel like you're isolated now. Does that make sense? So it's almost like if you feel lonely at times, it's because you're defining what belonging means the wrong way, or in a narrow sense, whereas you can expand what belonging means. Almost like now we have the online world, right? So in a way, you go on the computer and you are part of a global community, but some people don't think of it like that. So it's almost like you can shift your mindset and make yourself feel better in times when you're low or alone, just simply by reconfiguring your mindset and belief system and understanding more of a broader term or concept or definition of what once you thought was narrow, such as community could be something completely different. So in that sense, just keep redefining things that you feel are obstacles or blocks to you. Look at the definition and see what it says and see if it vibes with you. And if it doesn't sit right, you need to redefine what it means to you. You have that power. You can create your own reality in that way. That's what they mean. When they say manifesting, it's changing your belief systems in order to incorporate a new reality. So keep that in mind. Keep making connections where you can. We're going to go to the first important day. This day is the so long farewell until we meet again card, with the relationship being karmic and the feeling being happy. Happy feelings. Okay, so long farewell until we meet again with the karmic. Hold on, there's something going on. What's going on? This is going... Okay, so there's a day when something is happening and there's a client. You have a client, right? Not just your client, it's a master. Okay. So what this feels like is... It feels like there's someone that you have either respected or looked up to that you have seen on a continuous basis. It's another man. And it feels like this man is leaving and he's going to travel. And it's an opportunity for him to grow himself. And this is someone you could speak to on your language, someone who's part of your tribe, a very close dear friend who I feel like you see him every week. You can talk to him about basically anything. And there's something about it, he is departing, and it's a very bittersweet feeling. The happy comes in because you're happy for him, and he's happy for his next phase of his journey in life. It's almost like he's about to go on a quest, is what it feels like. That adventurous feeling, that excitement, like I'm off. I'm gonna go seek it out. I know it's out there and it's my time, like that thing. So you're like super happy for him, but then it's bittersweet because there's something in the missing him. And there's also, because you're intuitive, there is this feeling that he's parting it's the last farewell, like almost like you're not gonna see him again. And it's almost like you can both maybe sense it, but you definitely more. So there is this bittersweet feeling, but happy for the adventure to come for him. So, okay, so this feels like how you might connect with this could be in the sense where you might feel like separation anxiety when it comes to people you love. It could be a best friend, or if you have a kid, your kid, or sibling, anyone you love, even just someone visiting for the weekend and it's time for them to go. It's like hard to part, more so than just like, I'm going to miss you. It's just a separation anxiety, like almost like when you're with someone, you allow their presence to become your world, so that when it's time for you to part, you have to rearrange your entire world. And that can cause anxiety, especially if you know it's coming, or even if you don't think about it, then it's there, it's still happening. So this would be a message for you to at least be aware of that, if that makes sense. At least start being aware of it and acknowledging it, because then you could start to work on that part. Because all that is it's a bunch of love that you have to like send on its way along with the package that's going back home. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like you have all this love and then nowhere to put it, and you realize, oh my God, they're gonna be gone. Where does all this love go? Because when you get wrapped up in someone in their world, there's all this love there, and then they go, and it's like, where do I put it? It's like, ow, ow, like oh, come back. Like, so there might be separation anxiety there. This man feels karmic in the sense, like the karmic card is, there's karma there, but it's not karma like you owe each other anything. It feels more like we're looking at a soul group karma, like, okay, I'll see you, like, bye, see you in the next life, like that kind of thing. That's why it's bittersweet as well. It feels very sweet, but almost like there's so much patience in it. It's an interesting feeling. So this person is in your life, though, in your current life. This person, I feel, is teaching you patience, but in a way that you can rely on it, so you don't have to worry about it being pulled out from under you. Does that make sense? Like it's almost like when your kid goes off to college, and you're like, oh my God, they've been living with me all these years, and now they're gone, and it's like you have to readjust everything, but they'll come back. They're going to come back and visit. Like, so there's no worry. Like, you'll see them. But in the meantime, it's like, I'm so used to having them here, and now this is such an adjustment, but you can trust the adjustment because you trust your connection with them. You trust that, hey, it's my kid. They'll be back for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. If there's someone in your life that comes to mind when we're talking about this feeling, trust that that is the person we're talking about as this man here in this life, this deep, deep bond, this deep friendship. So what this wants to say for you though is, if you're feeling the separation anxiety in any way, or almost like it could be clinginess, and that's not bad. It's just, I'm trying to like describe what it is. It could be a desire to see someone, like it's like a little ache. But whenever you feel that, your job is to focus on, in the bittersweet term, on the sweet. And it's really hard because for some reason human brains like to focus on the negative stuff and the bitter stuff. So this is going to stretch your brain. This is here to help you like expand your consciousness and be your best self by training and disciplining your brain to focus on the sweet of bittersweet. And almost like when the bitter feeling comes up, just remember that it's only half of it, because the sweet is there and you can focus on the sweet, which is a beautiful thing. So keep that in mind. It's just about, again, catching the thought and substituting it with a higher mind thought. The lower mind thought focuses on the bitter. The higher mind focuses on the sweet. That's what they want to, that is their message. And so act accordingly is what they say. And you can do it. And maybe you already do, and that's great. And if that's the case, then they're saying, good job, keep it going. And if anything, try to help others achieve this mindset as well. Okay? So we're going to go to the next important day. There is death in this place. This is friends. This is light of love. And what is happening is he is getting word that this friend has died. And it's much later. It feels like it's been 12 years, at least a dozen. And he gets word that he's died, but he also gets word that he has achieved what he set out to do. And so even though the death came, I guess, premature, even though all death, everyone's death is arranged, so to speak, our souls know it's coming, but in this sense it feels so soon, just because it feels like he didn't even yet hit, I want to say 70, and this man was healthy and expected to live a very long time, by you. So it feels like, early to die in your mind, but having achieved what he achieved, again, focusing on the sweet of bittersweet. Yes, not seeing him again, but knowing your souls are connected intuitively, you'll see each other again. There is that knowing, you could feel it. This I feel like is a whole message of letting go, giving into the universe, surrendering to that flow. Death is part of life. Every day we're getting closer to death, and yet we can be incredibly full of joy and love every day. Focus on that. But death is part of the journey, and it doesn't mean a stop of our souls. It just means a transition point for the next phase of it. And I feel like that here, and that's why you can do nothing but send love to his soul, and also to like God. So it wants to say in this sense how people get angry at God for taking things from them. This is showing how this aspect of you still loved God, in whatever sense this aspect believed in God or the universe or whatever, still loved and appreciated God, focusing on the sweetness of life. And that's a message to you to remember that everything has a purpose. Everything is as it should be, and sometimes we just need to hear it even though we already know it. And it's almost like, hey, if you just need to remember that, just put it up on your mirror on a post-it. Everything is as it should be. Just to kind of give you a reminder that nothing is beyond what you can handle, that you are presented with at the time in your life that you are presented with it. Does that make sense? So just know that whatever comes your way, you are capable of, such as death of someone you love. You're capable of overcoming the grief and focusing on the sweet of the bittersweet, remembering the good times, knowing your souls are still connected, knowing that their energy is still around you, even if not in the physical. Again, grief is nothing but love having no place to go. So, I mean, there is more to grief, obviously, but that is what it is. Grief is nothing but love. Grief is love. That's why you're grieving, full of love. Nowhere to go, nowhere to put it. At least no physical place to put it, right? The person or whatever. So this is just a message in case you are going through a grieving period right now. It could be a pet. It could be a fish that died and you're grieving. Allow yourself to grieve. But, remember that the connection you had with whatever it is you're grieving or whoever it is that you're grieving there's such beautiful things about having made that connection, and you wouldn't be grieving unless that love was so strong, right? And that's so beautiful. So keep that in mind, to put things in perspective for you in the case of grieving. Even in the case of separation anxiety, basically just in the case of not being near the thing or the person or circumstance or place that you love all the time, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind. Keep making connections where you can. We're going to go to the death card here. This is the accident card. And I'm just trying to see what's going on. Okay, so it feels like we're looking at you much older, and the hair is gray or white, like, you know, that much older. And it's not like it's an age thing, but it's not like you died from old age. It's like you were old enough to die and people would be like, he lived a good life, you know? But in this case, it feels like what happened was you pulled something in your body that got inflamed, and it feels like the inflammation spread, and it feels like it caused a irritant of some kind that sped up the aging process because it was almost like painful and stressful, and it couldn't be fixed. So it feels like it eventually, it's not like it led to death, boom, right there. It feels like it instead shortened your life for some reason. It it was a stress within the body, and stress on the body shortens your life. Stress shortens life, and that's what it feels like. The inflammation caused a stress, and it shortened the life. But it feels like you are almost like mid to late 70s, like well into your 70s kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I want to say like almost 80 kind of thing. So it's like a good long life. And so in your current life, how you can connect with this is if you have inflammation of any part. This can also be allergies and asthma. Also, hold on. I'm trying to feel where the pull was, where it started. Because it's showing me like a main ligament, but I can't tell if it's the main one in the arm or the leg. It's almost like I want to say, if you have a weak limb, like your one arm is weaker than the others, or one leg is weaker than the other for some weird reason, that would be the one that was pulled here and that had the inflammation. So keep that in mind. And if this is also, and if not, that's fine, but this also is, if you have something going on, like you tweaked your back, if you have like a tweaked something going on, you need to get it fixed. Like, take care of it. If there's something you haven't been taking care of and you know you need to take care of it, this is coming up. Take this as a sign to be the thing that makes you go set the appointment to go see a chiropractor or something, okay? So take care of yourself now, so you're not stressing your body, so that you don't shorten your life, so that people that love you can spend more time with you and you can spend more time with them, okay? I'm not saying it will shorten your life. I'm just saying go get yourself checked out and make sure you're taking care of yourself, okay? Okay, so we're going to the lesson now. So this lesson is the Enlightenment card, and this Enlightenment card is all about like love beyond death, love beyond boundaries, love beyond being present with someone physically. This is about just learning about love beyond your body and your own energy field, love for another, how distance doesn't matter. That's a huge lesson, because it takes a lot of discipline and understanding to feel that energy and that love despite wanting different. And that in itself, that's a huge lesson, and I feel like you see yourself learn it with this guy who first leaves. So it's like it's almost like you learn it in baby steps, and that's another message for you, to make sure you're not pushing yourself too hard and to understand that development comes in baby steps. So here, the first step was he had to say goodbye to his friend. His friend's still living, but he won't be seeing him anymore. And then the next step, he learns he won't be seeing his friend anymore because he's not living anymore. So that's a whole nother level of being able to let go, but still love, and let go of, again, the bitter, holding on to the sweet. So that's what this whole lesson is about, is to let go of the bitter, hold on to the sweet. I feel like that is the message for you. Anyway, keep making connections where you can with this card, with this message. I hope you enjoyed your past life, this spread. I hope you're able to make some connections, and thanks for letting me read you.